There you
Okay. Hi, my name is David, and I'm going to talk about how I believe that there is scientific and documented proof that God and Jesus do exist. I have been a nurse for almost 2 years, so I have an appreciation for biology and science, and kind of through learning that and learning how the body works, it's really kind of solidified and aligned my beliefs in God. There are very miraculous things about the body that we take for granted. For example, our vascular system, if you took like all your veins, arteries, and your capillaries and all that stuff and stretched them out, for the average adult, it would be 55,000 miles. And a pump the size of a fist pumps blood through all that. Our immune system is so complex and adaptable, it is able to detect foreign invaders, and our liver can actually regrow and regenerate itself. Just the fact that we have bodies that have this adaptability and ability to heal shows that there is a supreme being that wants us to live and survive and adapt. My thesis statement is being a Christian requires a large amount of faith due to all the biological phenomena along with documented findings of Jesus. I'm going to explain about intelligent design and also ancient evidence of Jesus from non-Christian sources. Intelligent design is basically a concept that was developed by kind of new age scientists, and the root of all this is through the DNA. The DNA contains 4 different nucleotide bases, and I kind of printed out this diagram of the DNA. So the nucleotide bases that I'm touching on here is adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. Basically, each one of these make up a specific rung in the whole DNA structure. Basically, these DNA sequences can contain instructions, they perform functions, and produce specific effects. In a sense, they kind of code proteins. So they basically, the order of these provide instructions on how our body makes itself. This is very detrimental to Darwinism because a lot of scientists just believe that this is too much information to be contained into a cell to be explained by Darwinism. So I'm going to kind of switch gears and talk about some documented findings on Jesus that I found in my research. The first document that I came across was the Babylonian Talmud. This is a collection of Jewish rabbinical writings compiled between 700 to 500 AD. In a specific passage, it states, on the eve of the Passover, Yeshua was hanged. For 40 days before the execution took place, a herald cried, he is going forth to be stoned because he has practiced sorcery and enticed Israel to apostasy. So just to unpack this a little bit, Yeshua is the Hebrew pronunciation for Jesus. And it says that he's hanged. I know they teach in the Bible that Jesus was crucified, but during the New Testament times, hanged is actually considered a synonym for crucifixion. I guess they're interchangeable. And there is the New Testament. Let's see. Lost my place. But for instance, in Galatians 3:13, it declares that Christ was hanged. And in Luke 23:39, applies this term to the criminals who were crucified with Jesus. So another piece of research I found in my research was written by a Roman senator, orator, and this guy basically kind of studied cultural phenomenon. He was Cornelius Tacitus. And he lived from 55 to 118 CE. In his major work, which was entitled Annals, it includes a biography of Nero. Nero was this public figure who was suspected of secretly ordering the burning of a part of town where he wanted to carry out a building project, and he tried to shift the blame to Christians. In this guy Tacitus's excerpt, he was trying to paint a distorted image of Christians. And mentioned that they were punished in the most unusual ways, and that their leader was prosecuted by Pontius Pilate. And this time frame fits directly into Jesus' execution, which was estimated to be around 29 CE. CE stands for Common Era. There's also, I just couldn't find his last name, but there was documented writings of somebody by the name of Josephus, a Jewish priest who grew up as an aristocrat in first century Palestine. He wrote about Jewish heritage, and in one of his works called The Jewish Antiquities, he writes of the execution stoning of Jesus' brother James. And it was read that he referred to James as the brother of Jesus who is called Messiah. As I explained, there is undeniable proof of God's creation and Jesus' existence. Indeed, there has always been a huge gap between God and science, and even though it seems like a paradox, this bridge has been created to close the gap. Just as we have faith that our car is going to start when we turn the ignition, we have faith that the body heals, and that faith propels our belief in God. We have an innate desire to do good and our help to our fellow man, which is imprinted by the Lord God our Father. To deny God's existence would be to deny our own creation.